Bright and early. Okay. So we're going to continue the mimer that we started yesterday. Bilah, Hamaves, Lanetzach. Death will be swallowed forever. So just a quick recap. Adam, first man, Adam. He ate from the tree. He wasn't supposed to eat from the tree, but he ate from it, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And following that, Hashem said that he has to be sent out of the Garden of Eden, out of Gan Eden, lest, it's a fancy word, lest he eat from the Eitz HaChaim, the tree of life, and he will live forever. We asked, what's the big deal? He was supposed to live forever. The whole reason why it was now changed that he was not going to live forever is because he ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. He was punished. Okay, so he eats from the tree of life. He'll live forever. He was supposed to live forever in the first place. The answer given was that when he ate from the tree of knowledge, good and evil, which both existed already, became intermingled, became mixed, until the extent that you have no good without evil and no evil without good. And now that Adam has evil within him, which is something, a new phenomena after he ate from the tree, if he eats from the Eitz HaChaim, from the tree of life, now not only will he live forever, but the more crucial in this conversation is that the evil inside him will live forever. That is not something we can allow. It can be the evil should exist forever. So we started saying yesterday, the Rebbe started explaining that the fact that death was introduced into the world after this sin wasn't just simply a punishment. Now there's death in the world. But rather, the sin, the death was a direct result, a direct outcome of the sin itself. How so? So let's see. We're on the bottom of the page, of the first page. You're following in the papers over here. It's the bottom line. No, we'll go back one line. We'll go to the beginning of the paragraph. Yesh leimar the hamisa ba'ilm shenasa yedei chet esadas hi misubevas me'achet atzmei. Death in the world that happened through this sin is a result of the sin itself. But inyan the idea is like this: the inyan hachayus hu b'kedusha. Life, energy, exists specifically in holiness. Holiness is alive. Not so negativity and impurity. Negativity and impurity, which are the opposite of holiness. Hamaves, they are death. Like the sages tell us that the righteous, the holy ones, even when they have passed, they're considered alive. And the opposite is also true, that the wicked, even when they're alive, they're really considered dead. It's not just a play on labels and just calling them something that they're not. This is a reality. Those who their life is based on holiness and they live their life according to holiness, they are alive. Even after their passing, they're still very real. They're still alive. They're still present. Not so the wicked, that even when they're living, their life is not life. Their life is about potato chips and pizza and other such things. That's not a life. How do you define life? If somebody's in a coma, right? They're physically alive? Are they living? That's a good question. But holiness is alive. Therefore, mikiven sha'ayidei chetitzadas nis'ariv ra b'ha'adam, being that through the sin of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, negativity got mixed into the human being, into Adam, maves ruchni, which negativity now being introduced into the person is a form of spiritual death. Again, before this, there was no negativity in him. There was no negativity. He had no association with death. Once this negativity was brought into him through the sin, now he has part of his identity, part of his reality is what we're calling a spiritual death. From this evolved also a physical, literal death. So again, to recap that, Adam was pure, he was holy, he had no association with death. That's why he was going to live forever. Once he sinned, he mixed good and evil together. The evil was introduced into him. Now he has evil inside him. Having evil inside him is the opposite of holiness. This is a form of spiritual death. Automatically, it resulted in physical death as well. This is also the very same reason why when Mashiach comes, there will be Bilah Hamaves Lanetzach, that death will be swallowed forever. Since then, the negativity, evil will become null and void. Like we mentioned yesterday, Hashem says, the spirit of impurity I will remove from the world. The spiritual death will be removed from the world. Automatically, through this will be a swallowing of death. Because negativity, the spiritual death, will be removed from the world, automatically there won't be any more physical death as well. Okay. Now, the Rebbe is going to go on analysis over here and help us understand and appreciate and connect with the idea, why is it that when Mashiach comes, specifically when Mashiach comes, not today, not 100 years ago, not 1,000 years ago, not in the times of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, that's going to be the main discussion, why is it that it's only then in the future that we're going to have this idea that death will be swallowed forever? Why didn't it happen previously? Okay, so Beis. The reason why specifically Mashiach comes, then negativity will become nullified, meaning spiritual death and also physical death. Who? The reason is because in the times of Mashiach will be revealed such a intense, powerful, godly light will be revealed throughout reality, that in front of this light, anything that opposes the light, anything that opposes holiness can't stand. It becomes nullified. This is similar to the idea, not exactly the same thing, but it's similar to the idea. It says, we say at the end of the Amidah, he makes peace in his lofty heights. What is this referring to? The Talmud, I think, says that there's two different types of angels that are very much different from each other. There's the angel Malach Michal, and the angel Michael, and Malach Gavriel, the angel Gabriel. Michal is he personifies the idea of chesed, of kindness, and Gavriel personifies the idea of gevura, severity. And they very much are in contrast to each other. They're very different. Chesed and gevura, kindness and severity, are very much opposites. Yet Hashem is Ois Shalom B'Mreima. When they're standing before Hashem, He makes peace between the two of them. Because the divine revelation is so intense, they're two, what makes them opposites kind of fuses together. Similar thing over here, this great godly revelation is going to happen, it's going to be revealed within the world. Automatically anything that opposes holiness will become, will die in a certain sense. So, Mevar Baha Maimer, the Rebbe says that the Rebbe Maharash, who this Maimer is based on, his Maimer, he explains, the Hagam Shagam Bizman Shebeis HaMikdash Hayekayim, Ubefrat Bizman Bayis Rishon, Bilah Chaskama Vakama B'Mishleima Dekia Mesiharu B'Ashlemusa Hayagila Naila B'Yezer. I'm just going to continue to the end of the sentence over here. Umitzad Gilu Zeh Kol Hagoyim Nizbatul Lefonov Shelo Yidei Milchama Klal Shelo Chanikra B'Shem Shleima Kisholem Haya B'Yamav. The Rebbe is bringing a question over here. What's the question? If the whole idea of death being swallowed forever is because when times of Mashiach will come, there will be revealed a very intense godly revelation, godly light. So seemingly this should have happened already. In the times of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, and specifically, especially in the times of the first temple, where there was much more holiness prevalent, whatever the word is, there was a very intense godly revelation. And how much more so in the days of King Shlomo Melech, King Solomon, that it says about his time that the moon stood in its perfect, whole state. It was the greatest time for the Jewish people, where we are compared to the moon. And metaphorically, the moon at that time was revealed and full and whole. There was no darkness. Everything was beautiful, it was perfect, it was peachy. In fact, to the extent, because of this revelation, all the nations of the world were nullified to King Solomon, to the Jewish people. He didn't have to fight with them. People came to him. And in fact, that's why he was called Shlomo, Solomon, because he was peace in his days. Shalom is the Hebrew word for peace. That's why he was called Shlomo, which is a similar word. It was the peaceful. Everything was peaceful. There was no war. There was no fighting. They all submitted to his intelligence and his kingship. So how come the idea of death being swallowed forever didn't already occur in the times of the Holy Temple? The answer is because Makim Hagilu Shahaya B'Mishleima Haya Ba'efen Shahaya Adayin Makim Linikas Hachitzoyin. Es Elashini Kosam Az Haisa Rak Me Achirayim Dikdusha Bilah Hamachiza B'Pnimius. The difference was what's the difference between when Mashiach comes and the times of the temple? They were both intense godly revelations. In the times of the temple, especially in the times of King Solomon, the powerful godly light that was revealed in the world was in such a way that it left room for, let's use the words, other forces to siphon off of this revelation. And it left room for their existence in a certain way. Like we see, there's a famous story. This is all what I'm about to say is in the following brackets. There was a certain queen who heard about King Shlomo, and she traveled very far to come see him and to come speak with him. So she came out of her way. She was a queen herself, and she decided, instead of sending messengers and ministers to go meet with him and send a delegation, she was the delegation. She came to go meet him. Because again, this is representing this idea that the whole world, including this queen, was nullified to his kingship. At the same time, she was still a queen. She didn't renounce her queenship and say, I'm no longer a queen, I submit completely to King Solomon. No, I'm coming to meet King Solomon. I'm still a queen. I have dignity. I have royalty. So there was still a little bit of something. It wasn't a complete nullification. So right now we're skipping the brackets. The brackets go all the way till the sort of third to the last line of this paragraph, right after the little footnote for number 20. This is not so the revelation of the future to come, the times of Mashiach. It's different. When Mashiach comes, the revelation will be so intense, so powerful, there won't be room for anything extraneous, anything outside forces to siphon off of holiness. It won't be possible. And negativity will be completely nullified, resulting in Bilah, Hamaves, Lanetzach, death will be swallowed forever.